right.
Delta Fire Chief.
Won't be able to see it on the news.
We'll fix it in post.
Please, I have an internal guy that does that. But
Make them.
All right. All right, thank you all for coming. My name is Carissa Waite. I'll be serving as the Public Information Officer for the Capital Region Airport Authority. I'm here to just briefly introduce some of the representatives that we have here today in response to this crisis that we've experienced. With me we have Chief Eric Patrick from the Capital Region Airport Authority, Rob Benstein. We have Sheriff Larry Giroux, and what I'm going to do is actually just briefly turn this over so that he can give some information as to the response that we've had from the mutual aid partners.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Again, my name is Sheriff Larry Giroux. Giroux is spelled J as in John, E-R-U-E. At about 9:04 this morning, our central dispatch received a telephone call of a plane that had crashed just west of the airport in the open field off Airport Road. Emergency response crews arrived. At this particular point, we have a single engine plane that has crashed. This originated was out of Indianapolis, Indiana, en route to the Capital Regional Airport here. I can at this point tell you it's a very active investigative scene. It's still ongoing. NTSB and FAA have been notified and en route. FAA should be here shortly. We have 3 confirmed deaths on board. 3 others have been transported in critical condition to Sparrow Hospital. At this time, there's going to be no speculation as to why. We're going to continue to treat it as an active crime scene. And we should be able to give you more updates as follows. The airport folks here have been extremely helpful in identifying the aircraft where it was originated from. The identification of those on board, those deceased, is still in the process right now, and we're not going to release any names until next of kin has been notified. So if you have any questions, we have fire officials here, we have the airport folks, and the Sheriff's Department. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Yes?
So there are 6 people total?
6 people total on board.
Including the pilot?
Including the pilot. It appears that there's a pilot, co-pilot, and 4 passengers.
Okay. Are you able to tell us what airport in Indianapolis it originated out of?
I can't. I don't. Yes, ma'am.
Can you confirm the tail number or the letters on the plane?
I'm sorry?
The number of the plane?
We're not releasing any of that information at this point. It's still in an active investigation. I can tell you that it appears to be a leased aircraft out of Indianapolis. But as far as that company and so forth, no, we have no other information on it. Yes, sir.
Say what type of plane it is?
I'm sorry?
What type of plane?
That I don't know. Do you know what type of aircraft it was?
TBM 700.
And do you know kind of how many passengers do those generally hold?
That's a 6-occupant airplane, 4 passengers and then the 2 crew.
Do we know who died? Was it the passengers or was it one of the pilots? Or?
At this point, it's still an active investigation scene. As far as the deceased, at this point, no. Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak of the weather, what it was like during the flight?
The weather that we were experiencing at the time, I can only tell you by not through the weather station, but personally being on scene. It was a misty, cloudy, but as far as the actual weather, I don't know if you have that information or not, but from the weather service, but it was misty.
Would that be a safe, the kind of weather that would be safe to fly in? Or is it...
Not being a pilot, I'm certain that they do fly in this type of weather. I can't tell you whether it was a factor or not. That's going to be a call for whether FAA or TSB.
Can you say if they had called in a mayday or anything of that sort, if you knew that was coming, or you just saw a plane down?
We were notified, the Airport Operations Center was notified that there was an ELT, it's an alert from the aircraft. I'm not sure if that was pre-impact or post-impact, but we received a notice from the tower that the aircraft was sending them an emergency signal. And
But the plane was scheduled to land here?
it is not a normally scheduled commercial aircraft, so
Okay.
they file a flight plan and they come and go. Those type aircraft come and go. It's not on our flight board like a
So you
a
weren't
commercial aircraft.
expecting that particular plane this
No,
morning?
sir. No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So how long does it take to investigate something like this?
First of all, what's going to end up happening, we're the investigating agency, and our detectives are on the scene right now. NTSB and FAA, it could take days. I'm not going to tell you they're going to come in this afternoon and tell you that this was the cause and nature of the crash. My assumption is it could take days, if not longer. But NTSB and FAA will obviously have, once they arrive, we may be able to get them for, once their work is complete, maybe they could get with you and let you know.
Was this an experienced pilot?
I don't know anything of the history of the pilot, I'm sorry. Any other questions?
Do we know the last time a plane, we had an incident like this at this airport?
Well, I'm trying to think.
Right off the top of my head, I can't recall the one we had. We had a hard landing a few years ago on the actual runway. 3 people were injured. It was a privately owned aircraft. That would be the most recent.
Nothing with the gravity of the situation like this?
No, this is next level.
It's important to note that the aircraft actually did crash off of the airport property. It was about 125 yards west of Airport Road near the cemetery. So the response obviously is that's in Clinton County, which is why we have such a mutual response in this presentation today.
Say it again from the podium so that they
Yep.
can get you.
So the crash itself actually took place about 125 yards west of Airport Road, which is actually just west of the airport property and runway itself. So that it's important to note that crash did not occur on airport property.
One thing I would note to that, we have a tremendous working relationship, mutual aid with all the agencies in the area. Delta Fire responded. It's in Watertown Township where the actual crash occurred at. Airport folks have been absolutely outstanding in all the assistance they've provided. Lansing Police Department has been out to help. Numerous law enforcement agencies have responded to help, as well as DeWitt Township Fire Department, Bath Township Fire Department, with the lead being Delta Township Fire. So there's a real collaborative effort that has taken place throughout the years, and in this type of a tragedy, everybody does come together and works very, very, very well. We each know what other is doing, and it makes it very good. We even practice and have drills for this type of thing.
Can you describe the damage that was done to the aircraft?
The damage that, from visual on the street, the aircraft appears to be intact. I mean, the wings are still attached. The propeller is there. Obviously, it appears to be a very hard impact. But as far as there was no fire on board, there was no the aircraft did not disintegrate. The wings appear intact. The fuselage, the whole body of the craft appears intact. So you know, it didn't look like what you may anticipate. Yes, ma'am.
So again, you know that the plane was from Indianapolis, but you cannot confirm the company that
It's the lease company out of Indianapolis who own the aircraft. The flight was originated out of Indianapolis, and it was scheduled to arrive here.
Do we
And it-
know, sorry,
No,
do we know the relationship between the people on the plane? Like, were they related or?
Yeah, I don't know. It does not appear to be a family type situation.
So you're saying that it was scheduled to land here now? What you just
My
said?
impression was that it was scheduled to land here.
Well, when you talk about scheduled aircraft, there's, in the industry, there's commercial air service that is normally scheduled to land here, and then there's non-commercial air service that files flight plans to come here. we have no way of knowing that they were coming here. The tower obviously would know that, because they would file the flight plan with the
And
FAA.
did the tower know that they were headed to Lansing or coming in?
They were in reach with the tower, so I'm sure they were in communication with the tower to get clearance for landing because of the location that they crashed in. They had to be on final.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, what we'd probably like to do is maybe schedule up, if you have additional questions, feel free to ask. And yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Can you release the gender of the people who were on board, the ones who are deceased?
At this point, no. Other than to say it appears to be a male pilot, but at this point, we're not releasing any information on who is or was on board. Yeah, go ahead.
In regards to the question regarding the weather, I just wanted to provide some clarification. None of the commercial services that is currently scheduled out of Lansing has been impacted by this weather. Our commercial service will carry on throughout the day. There may be interruptions as it relates to the recovery of the aircraft from the west side of the airport, but at this time, airport service, it will be uninterrupted.
So no delays, no canceled flights?
Nothing at this time, no. Any other questions, anything else? Yep. Yes, it's Karissa. Last name Wait, Weight. All right, thank you all for coming, and we'll be in contact with further information.
Appreciate everything. Yeah, it's going to be well close.